for his second round on the BFC from ticker SFWJ, Medcana. I'm talking about none other than Gabriel Diaz. Let's bring him in. Sir, welcome back to the BFC. How you doing?
Good, Eric. How are you?
Great. How you been?
Great. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. It's been a long day this morning. I'm actually down in Medellin today. This morning I was at the finca, which is an hour and a half away from here. So left at about 6:30 a.m. and got back here to do the show. So happy to be here.
Excellent. Now I have a bunch of questions for you. And this is ticker. And I got to remember, Rob is he's not here. He has no power because of the storm. He has a lot going on. But I got to remember to do SFWJ. I got to put your ticker up there, man. I got to remember these things. See, Rob, if you're listening, well, he's not, but I need you here, bro. But no, it's exciting to have you back on. You guys are clearly doing a lot, and I want you to give the update. I want to share this video first that you actually shared with me right before the show. You care if I roll it right now?
Go for it. Yeah,
and then you can talk about it.
A little bit about it when it's done as well.
Sounds good. All right, guys, enjoy.
These are microclimate test beds, 2 of them. This is my office today. Spring. It was identified by the geologist. But we're going to use this spring as a plan B to take water up approximately 200 feet to phase 1. And it's just a plan B. We have a good plan B. And there goes one of our engineers. All right, so what you guys, what I just filmed is we did a walk going down here. We were on the side of the road and we went to see this spring, which doesn't have enough water. It's a little steep, so we couldn't make it down to this spring, but we know this spring has plenty of water. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna have a ram pump that's gonna go from here, take the water up to, there's a small house here, and then there's another ramp up that's going to go up and pump the water up to the tanks that are over here.
So you guys have access to water and irrigation at this site. Talk to us about this.
Yeah, so, well, there's approximately 100 inches of rain every year in Colombia, in Marinilla, where we're at. There's 11 springs that are identified in the 100 acres that we have. And there's a river that borders our property. So we've got plenty of water. The intent, though, is to make sure that all the water we use is from rain collection. And so, however, we needed a solid plan B. So today was identifying how we're going to feed that first phase should we need water from the springs, and just make sure that we know it's identified, we know we've got enough of a flow, and we know we can pump it up to where we need it. But yeah, water there's a tremendous amount of water needed for these plants. It's 50,000 liters per day per hectare. So I talk all metric because most of this is all metric, but it is a tremendous amount of water. And we're very lucky to be in this climate. We're very lucky to have the rain collection. We are already working on this, and you saw at the beginning of the video, we've got this first half an acre where we're already growing. Since this last conversation we had, we were able to purchase 2 20,000 gallon tanks of where we were collecting rainwater just from the roof of this one small greenhouse. And last night we had rain from 7 o'clock to 7 a.m. and the tanks are overflowing. So yeah, water is important, but we have plenty of water.
Excellent. I want to talk about some of the most recent PRs that you guys have, because this is important stuff, and I want to address this. All right. So you guys, you have licenses that add 1.6 million to your assets for quarter three. More specifically, the 23 licenses, 7 in CBD, 7 in THC, 7 licenses for fabrication of products containing cannabis, and 2 for genetics. So talk to us about why this is so significant.
So this is recognizing these assets. We've been working towards it to make sure all our I's were dotted, our T's were crossed. Now that we're in production, we're obviously recognizing the assets. But what it comes to is we have acquired a total of 7 companies that have production, process, and export capability. Okay. And 2 of those companies have the genetics registration licenses, which allow us to register our own genetics. Why did we do it this way? It sounds a little, maybe we went too far, maybe we want to go too big, but here's what happens. What I saw when I started looking into this project is pharmaceutical companies want their product, they want their genetics, they want their product certified, and then they're going to be very, the next step is they're going to want to acquire it. We've seen it, and I saw that happen with one of the companies and one of the CEOs and mentors that I met here in Colombia, who had already made an exit exactly like what I described. So when we had the option to pick up multiple licenses, we thought this could be an exit. Not that it's gonna be, but might as well have it in our back pocket. And if it's gonna cost us, if it's not gonna be that expensive, and they're contiguous, all of the property, all of the licenses are together, and so why not have it there? The other thing about that is, if there ever were to be a spinoff, we would never spin off the genetics licenses. So we become the sole vendors for our clients that have now bought our licenses. So good strategy, not the main one, but in my opinion, it's always great to have options. So yeah, but the last 2 acquisitions that included the genetics were an absolute home run. We didn't have that card in our deck, and we're very happy that we got that. And again, I mentioned 7. Okay, remember that there's the 8th one, which is our agricultural infrastructure company, and that was still going extremely well. I think we're going to talk about that in a little bit. Yeah,
and that's Eco 2.0, right?
Eco 2.0.
Yeah, we're gonna get the Eco 2 in a second. I want to talk about this. This is big this is big news for you guys. You guys you're going to eliminate all convertible debt by the end of the 3rd quarter, and you have, correct? $450,000 of convertible debt being eliminated, gone, done, and it's all it's issued preferred now with 6 months lockup. How do you feel about that?
Very happy. It's great on the books. Our investors are very happy as well. They're friends and family. This was a friends and family round. Extremely loyal, extremely long term. So everybody's happy for what just happened, and we're very comfortable that the lockup will be extended by our investors, whether we want it or not. They're in for the long term, which is a nice thing. So,
right on. The company is trading without a 15C211 filed. Is the company currently working on or planning on getting one filed?
Correct. Yeah. That's top priority for us. When you get a shell company, you got to clean things up, and that is definitely our top priority right now.
Excellent. Discuss a little bit market conditions both here and abroad, more specifically the European market too. So give us your thoughts on that.
So I think last time I mentioned this, one thing that I came from a telecom industry when deregulation happened, and I saw the exact same thing happening. I saw the first wave of investment, speculative and wasted investment into that went in, and the bankers made money and the original owners made money and nobody produced. Okay. What we've seen, I saw the end of that about a year and a half ago, and the beginning of the second wave, which is the one that executes, right? We are looking at the beginning of the second wave, and it's coming on extremely strong. Demand is incredibly high and continues to grow because regulations, it's become legalized in all these countries. Pharmaceutical is becoming, which is what we focus on. There's more and more prescription pharmaceutical growth in Australia is expected to be 27% year over year, which we'll talk about Australia.
Wow.
Europe has the same crazy growth. I think it's 19 to 23%. There's some things happening in Europe that are going to increase that even further. So we've seen the market, the demand grow, and supply, because we're hitting the end of this first wave, supply is dwindling and continues to dwindle. And what happens is, give you very clear examples. I sit down and I do a lot of networking with CEOs and owners of cannabis companies here in Colombia. And what's happened is they've been at this for 5-6 years without getting to market. Investors are tired, they're out of money, and they're pulling out of these things. They didn't get the right infrastructure built. The regulatory climate wasn't there yet. All of these things happened. So a lot of these companies were very close to where everything's stable now. Demand is there, and they're not able to execute. And so we're I call it the raffle of the tiger. I don't think I talked about that last time, but what we're seeing now is, and this is where we're getting our demand from right now. Our genetics vendors demoed their genetics in Europe and Australia, and they were asked to fulfill quantities that they absolutely cannot fulfill because they won. They entered this raffle for a tiger. Now you got a tiger. What do you do with a tiger, right? And so we have these. We have 11 hectares, or about 25 acres of greenhouses coming online, and we can fulfill the raffle of the tiger. And so we're very happy as to where the market is. We're very happy as to where we're going as far as fulfillment goes. And we don't see demand dwindling. A few other things have happened with the Colombian cannabis is we're growing it in greenhouses. However, we still interact with the environment. Our greenhouses are not entirely hermetic, and they're not meant to be. We let the wind go through. We let the temperature goes up and down. There's variance. And this is giving us a product that is way more desirable than anything grown in greenhouses in Europe and in Australia. Even though it's pharma, it matters, right? So we're very happy to see that it's not just cannabis globally, but it's also Colombian cannabis and the quality that we're going to be exporting.
Excellent. You guys are literally creating a global footprint. It's unbelievable.
Yes, we are.
And I think that bridge, Australia and Europe, that's gonna be pretty substantial for you guys. See, I'm the host. I could say that. He might not be able to say that, right? Forward-looking statements. I don't know. Hey,
so many things I want to say because I'm so excited about it.
So you should be. I mean, the operation that you guys are doing is absolutely huge. And there's a lot I want to get to here. Give us an update on the operation specifically in Colombia. Are they progressing at the pace that you thought that they would?
They're progressing at a great clip. We are still this close to securing the investment for the full kickoff. In the meantime, we continue to grow infrastructure. We are in production. So we're very happy with where we're at right now. You didn't get to see much of the greenhouses. We kind of keep that to ourselves a little bit, but you saw the expanse. There's a tremendous amount of work going on with roads. There's a tremendous amount of work with water. Water is a problem for us because it washes out our roads and it washes out the bridges that we've got on the property. So, but no, we're very happy with the way we're progressing. We're very, very happy with the way demand is and the deals that we've got. As soon, again, we got a Reg A out there and we've locked that up pretty well. And so we're on the edge of exploding at this point.
Right on. Excellent. Guys, if you have any questions, put them in the chat. I already see one in there. We'll get to that in a second. Excellent. Talk about I'm just trying to think of how to phrase this. The greenhouses. All right. How many greenhouses? Talk about the yield per greenhouse. And how that is going to impact revenue. How many greenhouses you're looking at? And I know this is super forward looking because you're just getting started, but just sort of lay it out for us if you could.
No,
give us some numbers if you could.
We've got the numbers down to the T, and I can tell you very conservatively. Right now, we have space for 25 acres of greenhouses.
Okay.
We know we've got them separated in 4 phases. We know the yield. Some of these greenhouses are going to be bigger, some of them are smaller, but it all adds up to these 25 acres. And that's because I think you saw in the video, the property is not flat. And so there's a lot of earth moving that's going to happen. And there's a lot of making sure we're going to fit and that design is complete, right? So we're ready to go with that. The yield of these, we're looking at, after the first 12 months, we're looking at a very conservative $3 million of revenue. And this is because we're building a greenhouse approximately every 2 months. We're being, again, conservative on the growth. At the end of the growth spurt, within 24 months, we start building 2 hectares at a time. And at that point, we're doing a very conservative $30 to $40 million in revenue a year. These are original numbers, okay? We have been lucky enough, and I don't think I haven't mentioned it, but one of the things that allow us to have such high yield is we have four growth cycles throughout the year. The weather is so stable that we have tested for the past year. We've been testing in those small greenhouses that you saw. Those are our microclimate, our testing. And we know we can get 4 crops in, where the Northern Hemisphere, you're going to get 1 or 2. And so we're extremely happy. So that increases yield. But we're also seeing, as we get deeper into this, we have retained a company, a consulting company, that's probably going to allow us to double that production. Okay. Wow. So at this point, within 24 months, you're looking at 60 to 70 million. Again, these are numbers that we're seeing as potential, but even these conservative numbers look fantastic.
Yeah.
More exciting than all this is the fact that once we get this down and we fill up these 25 acres, we can grow anywhere else. We'll have the process, we'll have the certifications, we'll have the engineers, we'll have the chemists. All this staff is ready to go. So we're not going to stop at these 25 acres.
Yeah. So you're looking at multi-location. That's great. That's what I want to hear. I want to see the big picture there. That's excellent.
Multi-location, multi-geography.
Yeah.
Not just Colombia.
I know you're probably itching to get in the United States and probably have some kind of a massive operation here, correct?
Absolutely. It's the waiting game to be ready. My big thing about that is when it does, because it's a matter of time, when it does open up, the first ones to enter are going to be the ones that have the pharma certifications, right? And that will be us. And we will be sitting patiently by the sidelines waiting to get in. But yes, that is not the end game either, just because demand is so high globally, but it'll definitely make a difference.
Right on. You know, there are a number of green initiatives as motivators for business growth, just like I was talking with Jeff earlier. Talk about those green motivators for you, and are you utilizing any of these?
I really like something Jeff said in his interview. He said, is it logical? It's not just, is it ecological? Is it logical to use? And yes, there are initiatives, but we're going to take advantage of them, but we're not doing that. My focus is to make sure we have as little impact on the environment as possible, right? Beginning with a rain collection. Right now, these pumps that I talked about in the video, they're actually ram pumps, which are beautiful little machines. They consume zero energy. It's based on gravity feed of the water that creates pressure, and that pressure drives the water up. It's been around for 700 years. The pumps are maybe $3,000, and they work for 20 years. This is logical and it makes sense, right? Yep. So this is how we're going to be pulling water. We're going to have the rain collection at the bottom of the farm, and then we're going to bring it up with these pumps. That's one. Wind generation. We have wind. We have these beautiful, I can't remember what the name of these, they're turbines now, right? And Eco2O is actually proposing that for us. And we will probably generate the large majority of our electricity through these wind turbines. So yes, solar, we want solar. That impact to us is extremely important. It's a very large operation. And again, if we have zero impact and we are stewards of our environment, it has to happen. Companies have to have that, not just because of incentives. I think it's got to be a charter that we need to be responsible, and we can, and we will.
Yeah, and it totally makes sense to do it when it makes sense. Do it when it's logical, just to do it for the sake of doing it. You know, so I do want to talk briefly about Eco 2.0. All right, talk about the infrastructure division of Medcana. This is big.
I'm very happy with what Eco 2.0 has done. We're seeing, again, there will be cannabis infrastructure in Colombia. There is already. We have clients, but we've been able to penetrate the flower industry, which is the largest crop in Colombia. It's a crop that is having to become to add technology to maintain productivity and to maintain their costs. So you can't have people. There's so many people leaving the small towns to go to large cities that you now need irrigation systems, whether you like it or not. But now you need nutrition as well. Now you need greenhouses. Now you need to control your environment. And so we have had a couple press releases. We are doing business with some of the largest flower producers in the country already. We've got a client, Dassinger Global. We did a press release with them that they're the largest flower seedling producer on the planet, and we continue to work with them. Revenues look great. Expansion looks great. We continue to add internal engineering. We have irrigation systems, an irrigation platform. Full platform is going to cost you $132,000 to $200,000. We have our engineers working on designs where we're going to be able to put these things to market for $85,000, $95,000 with a 2-year, 3-year warranty versus a 1-year warranty. So these things are coming out of Eco 2.0. You saw in the video, one of my engineers fell today. but these guys are our core engineering group for all of our companies as well. So the lessons that they're gaining from that as well, and the experience that they have that we're able to use is phenomenal. Just on the build out of our infrastructure, we ended up saving approximately $2.5 million by doing that acquisition. So we're very happy with the way it's going. We're very happy with the leadership that we've got there. We're extremely happy with the engineers. So, yep, good to talk about that one.
Right on. You know, it's so funny because like I have a bunch of questions here, and it's like you're already like you're answering my questions, man. You're laying this thing right out there, and I love it. Absolutely love it. I do want to ask about, and I do have a question from Joel M. And let's throw that up there right now. What genetics, because I was going to ask this, but I'm going to let Joel M do this. What genetics do you guys have? I'd like to hear the different cultivars.
Joel, great question. Now, my answer is going to be not exactly what you want. We have the genetics licenses right now, but in order to get a varietal registered, it takes about 1.5 years. And we need to generate revenue and profits first. So our genetics license they're going to sit on the back burner for a little bit, because not only do we have great genetics right now, but we have the customers that are buying those genetics from that raffle of the tiger I spoke about. But I will tell you, we're extremely happy. Our vendor, the seedlings that we're getting are produced in vitro at this point. And that guarantees the quality of the genetics that we're using and the quality of the product that we're putting out. When we start our own genetics program, which I expect it to be in about 1 year to 1.5 years, we will also be producing in vitro. So we don't have it yet, but we have. Why waste 1.5 years on something where we already have the client and we have the revenue guaranteed? And so that's kind of where we're at with genetics. But the fact that we own it, when these pharmaceuticals come to us and they say, listen, now we need this varietal that has this, we'll be able to create the varietal, register it, and then it'll be ours. So I hope that answers my question, Joel.
Excellent. All right, Joel, I hope that does answer your question. Feel free, the guys, put your questions in the chat. A little sailing.
You know what, though? I forgot to say something else. Joel, this is CBD and this is THC as well. And the THCs that we've got, the varietals are in the 22 to 23%, which are crazy high. So they're very good varietals.
A little comment from Sailing: a lot less maintenance involved in solar energy production versus wind turbines, which require a lot of maintenance. Sharing that.
That is Eco 2.0's problem at this point, to make sure they convince us on the fact that those are going to work better. The designs that we're seeing, again, it's not your typical wind turbine. This is a company out of Netherlands, I believe, and we've seen some good results from them. We're still in evaluation period, but yeah, the problem with solar panels is we don't have a lot of flat land. There's got to be some engineering, but these turbines can fit on the side of anywhere. It doesn't have to be pointed west. So we're evaluating, but yeah, you're right. With the old turbines, we wouldn't have considered them. It's these new models, and they're called, I can't remember the name for the life of me. It's like these screws. So anyways, I'll get the name of that information and send it to you, Eric, if you want to post it later.
Yeah, absolutely. I absolutely will. 2 more questions. You have a ton of companies already in MedCanna. Are there any other acquisitions in the works?
The answer
I got to ask this. I got to ask this.
It's a very strong maybe, and let me tell you why. I don't think we should say no at this point to anything. We have seen some possible acquisitions because, again, this first cycle of companies, of investors are pulling out. We're seeing that there's going to be a lot of opportunities to acquire genetics, to acquire even infrastructure. We just bought these tanks that I mentioned. These are 40,000 liter, I think it's like 20,000 gallon tanks. Retail for these tanks was maybe $20,000. I paid $4,000 for both tanks because we're seeing such a fire sale in the industry from all these companies. So I think there will be opportunities. I'm not opposed to it. And if there's something good out there, we're probably going to be interested.
All right. A little bit of a juicy answer, not forward looking. I want to thank you for coming on the show, and I want to give you the floor for a final statement to your shareholders and potential shareholders.
Yeah, I'm super excited. This is not just a company, it's a lifelong project. What we're doing also, we didn't talk about this too much, but the impact we have on the local community is tremendous. Once fully staffed, we'll have approximately 180 people. Wow. We're going to change people's lives. Infrastructure, there's this beautiful tax model in this country where instead of paying federal taxes, we can create projects around the area where we're at, build roads, build schools, build hospitals, and that money gets paid directly to the community. So there's a lot of these things that we're going to be doing that are going to impact our employees and the communities positively. Not just that, it's also the ability to create something global that's going to give us an entry into something that's extremely stable, that hasn't been done at this scale before anywhere. I think we will become one of the largest, not forward-looking statements, but we will become one of the largest cannabis producers very soon definitely in Colombia, and certainly will be close up in the world. So we're very happy. Our investors are extremely important. We want to make you guys money. We want to show revenue. We don't spend money unwisely. We're not first wave. We are second wave. We execute. I've done that before in telecom, and I'm going to do it again in this industry. And so far, we're very happy with where we're at. And sit tight, guys. It's going to be a great ride. It's going to be a really good ride.
You guys are my Q4 cannabis pick for 2024 and going into 2025. I'm going to be following you guys very closely. You're going to be back on the show in about 4 to 5 weeks discussing and updating, and we're going to keep the BFC community abreast as to what's going on with SFWJ. Gabriel Diaz, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you very much, guys. Have a good night.
Get out of here.
All right.